everybody, Rachel here. I'm going to talk about some stuff that happened over the weekend, specifically I guess one event that happened over the weekend for Lorcana as like a weekend wrap up. So let's head over to inkdex.com and see what event I'm talking about. So the event on the weekend was Charlie's Collectible show. It had 186 players at it, so good amount of players. And if you're looking for some deck lists, 186 players is a good number of players to look for a tournament for deck lists. So scanning down here, first place that we had Steel Song, which is great for me because I like Steel Song. Also not so great for me because it means that people will be looking for stuff to beat Steel Song. We also have in second place Ruby Sapphire. So this Ruby Sapphire is more of your traditional popsicle. We'll take a look at the list in a minute. But this would be like not the Sisu on Ice one. This would be like the essentially big stuff in red blue. We have 3 lists that finish next in bounce, and I'll scroll down. We have some more Steel Song and the Sisu on Ice builds, and then Cogsworth and Friends. So interesting thing I guess to note or to kind of look at for tournaments is who would have to have beat whom in order to get these standings. So top 16 would have lost to the top 8 players so that the top 8 players continued on. So top 16 had 4 Steel Song decks in it, which means that the 5th one that finished up here would have been kind of the 5th one in the top 16. 4 of the Steel Song list did lose in top 16 and didn't progress on. So they would have been against probably some of the bounce ones, the Sisu on Ice. And after playing Steel Song against the Sisu on Ice, you can totally understand why that one is a tough matchup. So Steel Song's a lot of these lists have kind of the grab your swords and whatnot. A lot of people have been talking about the hyper aggro lists that they think that will be out there. So people have been teching in for hyper aggro. Looked at these lists earlier, and the thing to note about these lists is though they can fare well against hyper aggro, they are all kind of late game decks. There's some control options. The Steel Song list that we're about to look at does have a good amount of late game stuff in it. And so if you were just looking at beating hyper aggro, I don't think it was enough to have kind of carried you through on this. So no hyper aggro yet to be super afraid of. Thing that I will mention is that we do have a full breakdown thanks to a Reddit post. I don't have the poster's name in front of me, and so I apologize for that. But we do have a breakdown of out of all the 156 people at the tournament, who was playing what. So I'll go through the first, the kind of most notables, I guess, or the majority of the field. So 47 out of 156 players, which is 30% of the decks out there, were the Amber Steel. So more than likely the Steel Song kind of lists. So a lot of Steel Song, 30% is a good chunk of the field. 37 out of 156, so 23% of the field were Sapphire Ruby. And as I pointed out here, there's kind of 2 builds of Sapphire Ruby. There's the traditional Popsicle Big Stuff build, and then there's the Sisu on Ice build. So could have been one or the other there, although personally, I would think that Sisu on Ice would be a popular one, or like the turbo items. But I'm not 100% sure. I'm just kind of going based on, I see 3 Sisu and Ice on the list and only 1 traditional Popsicles in the top. 25 out of 156 people, so 16% were Ruby Amethyst. So that would be, I would assume again, more than likely almost all like the bounce control. So only 16% were playing bounce control, but bounce is still a big kind of like a stable enough thing that people are still continuously playing it. 12 out of 156, so 7.5-ish% are Sapphire Steel, so that is probably the Cogsworth and Friends deck. It's definitely kind of the biggest archetype in the Sapphire Steel. 9 out of 156, so about 5.7%, was both Emerald Steel and Emerald Amethyst. So Emerald Steel would probably be the discard package, whereas Emerald Amethyst probably has a little bit of like the bounce package, the Ursulas, that type of thing. There's one who's in the top 8 for the Emerald Amethyst. So the cool notable thing, I guess, is that there was one person who was playing a mono emerald, which I think is a pretty neat fact. Haven't seen any mono decks come up yet, unless they are like the puppies. And it might be just me that played mono amber puppies, but that mono emerald, good for you. So let's take a quick look at some of these deck lists here. So Steel Song came in first. Ruby Sapphire, those are the decks that Josh and I are currently playtesting right now. In fact, the exact lists. And then we're going to kind of look at some of the bounce lists real quick. I'll post up links and a little bit more of a description on the deck blog. So if you're looking for a little bit more of an in-depth analysis or just simply links to kind of follow for yourself, check it out there. So this list is the one that I'm playing right now. Something to note, it is 62 cards. Josh and I hadn't realized that. I kind of pile shuffled twice. I think I must have counted wrong, but it's 62 cards. It did finish first out of 186 players, so good job. It is a list that is by BD Candido 7. I apologize if I mispronounced that. It looks like a pretty good list to me. It looks pretty fun. We got 4 of the Cinderella Singers, 4 Robin Hoods, 4 Shmees, 3 Piglets. I'm all about that. It's got a good amount of aggro in it. The Lanterns shocked me when I saw it. In fact, I thought, did you mean flutes for a second? But like playing the Lanterns, especially with like the Naveen's, the bigger Robin Hoods, the Cinderellas, felt good to be able to get them out a little bit early. And late game, it was nice to not have to ink things to be able to like play the Lantern. So not opposed to the Lantern, did feel good. The Shmees and the Piglets really do kind of say like aggro to me, and I'm all for that. I love the aggro strategy. Ursula doesn't feel like it to me. 62 cards, I think you could cut to 2 Ursulas. At least that's what I'm going to be looking at. Most of the rest of the package feels pretty much the consistent 4 Naveen's, 3 Cinderellas, so something definitely for late game there. And the 4 Petes, which originally I thought was for the Be Prepared matchup. However, I think it's good to go into the mirror. I think you want that Pete out there for the mirror match. So that is kind of the first place list. Josh and I are playtesting that up on stream this week, or at least tomorrow. So if you're interested in that, go take a look or go look at our past streams. Second place was Ruby Sapphire by Jose Feliciano. Again, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing anything. So this is what Josh is playing right now, which we were kind of shocked to see the traditional popsicle build. Josh played it with a giant smile on his face. He seemed to really like it. Mufasa was a giant pain with the fact that like Josh kept wanting to play him, even though he kept saying, I don't think it's the right decision, but it looks like it'll be fun. And when he got 2 Mufasas out, it was brutal. So Mufasa looks like he'll be good. 4 Maleficents, 4 Tamatoas, 3 Scars, 4 Medusas, 4 Mauis. Like it is a big stuff deck. As far as kind of the rest of the deck goes, is like a quick rundown. Popsicle, 4 of that. I mean, it's a draw card. Fishbone feels like the least kind of exciting ramp in this deck, which is shocking because Fishbone was like the best ramp. But like compared to like the compared to like the Tipo, potentially even then singing 1 jump the next turn, Tipo feels like he's a better ramp card. So ramp for Sapphire, definitely got some new toys with this set that feels really good. This deck felt very powerful. I was not a fan of playing. It was a hard one to play against, but it looked like a really fun deck. I'll have more kind of analysis on these 2 decks when we kind of finish playtesting a little bit, so I can give you a little bit more in-depth analysis. Check out the deck blog if you're interested in that a little bit later. Last 2 I'm going to scan through real quick, which is kind of your bounce list. So your 3rd and your 4th place. We'll kind of compare them side by side. They look different already. So the first one is playing like the Trinbox Followers, Magic Brooms, Flynn. That's a pretty standard one. 2 locations here, the library and the castle. I like the addition of them. We haven't played against any of the new bounce stuff yet. I'm excited to see how the library fares in that. But the 4 Be Prepareds, 4 Mauis, 3 Medusas, those all feel pretty good. The big thing would be like the 1 Sisu. I think that especially if there's a lot of Steel Song, we might want to up that. Same thing I would say about this one, although this one has a lot more of, say, the red cards in it with like Tremaine and Medusa. 3 and 3 feels like a lot on that. The little Elsa, I'm excited to see too. So we'll be probably play testing those a little bit later, but that's kind of a quick rundown of this week or this weekend, I guess, and kind of what was going on there. Join me again for some more tournament stuff, and if you're interested to see how these decks played, either come check us out on Twitch or kind of look for our videos on YouTube or Twitch. Sometimes it's nice to see how they play out. Thanks for watching.